Toni from beerculture.com, and in here educating me about craft beers, and we took off on a reminiscing journey there back to the days when we worked together back with Stax Music Academy, and now an engineer. What kind of engineer is this that you're doing?
I'm a chemical engineer. I work on the supply chain end. Basically, I go and help suppliers scale up chemical processes.
I see. I got you. Well, here I go. My naturally curious self. They're making soaps or whatever it is, and they need to scale up. They're making a small batch. You know how to scale it up to.
Right. You have people doing materials and processes. A group we call M&P. They figure out new formulas, new coatings that you can use on different base metals or base materials, and then now we have to scale it up. We build rockets.
Well, talking to a chemical engineer, you get a white lab coat, test tubes, and all of that. Is that what you do with the goggles on and stuff?
Yeah, goggles, no lab coat.
Always goggles. All right, and that, of course, made you interested in, I suppose, interested in craft beers. Is that how they worked out?
Definitely. I remember my senior year in undergrad, actually my 21st birthday, there was a course we took that took us to different places every week where we would be able to use our degrees and learn places where we could start a career.
I got you.
And so one of those places was a brewery on the East Coast, and they showed us all of the vessels. I mean, we even worked word problems that had to do with brewing, and I completely took it for granted back then, but once I saw the spectrum of what beer could be, I remembered, well, you studied this, you looked at this.
Yeah. Wow, she's brilliant. Now, last point that we'll touch on, and we'll certainly give folks an opportunity to reach out to beerculture.com. You mentioned diversity that, we already touched on. Sometimes these companies will move in because the land is cheaper, set up craft brew operations, not necessarily hiring the locals. But there was even more than that. Something else you were talking about, the diversity aspect, because we want people out there to take advantage of every commercial opportunity. What about that side? Why is it lacking, and what do you think should be done about it on the diversity? Because we were talking about it off air.
One thing I think when people move into a space and they plan to engage with the locals, they have to see folks as their neighbors.
Yeah.
They have to see people as neighbors, as part of the community, and they have to really immerse themselves. They have to be involved in the things that are going on. And I see that happening in more affluent neighborhoods, but not necessarily in other neighborhoods where the land might be cheaper, where other people that might be different from them live.
I see.
And so, you see people running car washes or sponsoring sports teams or running voting drives or encouraging people to get out to vote.
I see.
You don't see that happening a lot when you go into neighborhoods that are not as affluent or is not as suburban.
Yeah, you mean the craft brewers themselves embrace the neighborhood more so than just moving in, manufacturing, and not putting any resources back into the local.
Right, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see, no matter where they are. You see it some places, and you don't see it others.
Well, our own Wiseacre Brewery, I've heard only good things about. His name is Kellen. His brewery put it over in Binghamton. Pretty good guy, I've heard.
Yeah, I've met Kellen. He's a good guy. I like him, and he's a person. What I can appreciate about Kellen is that he wants to engage genuinely, authentically, and he's looking for ways to discuss how to do that, and that's something I definitely respect. Instead of just being like, oh, well, I'm here, I'm just gonna sell it to who I've been selling it to, and not be concerned about where I am.
All right.